In any one day of the war, there is fighting on many fronts. This is one battlefront, the front on which American boys face the enemy. Yes, this is one front, and this is another front, spread over the face of America. Like the other fronts, it is big and complicated, so big that only a few men in the whole nation can understand its real capacity for waging war. Here is one small sector of this front, one American city. A city full of war industries, a city full of war workers. On the 926th day after Pearl Harbor, in the month of Allied invasion, one of the factories in this town celebrated an event, the manufacture of the 250,000th 50 caliber machine gun for the armed forces. One machine gun, a deadly weapon. The 250,000th. It may not seem strange that a factory should produce 250,000 machine guns. And the quantity production of 2 different types of propellers in one factory may not seem unusual. In addition to quantity production of hydraulic aircraft controls and many other kinds of war products. That is what factories are for, to produce things. The strange thing is that only a short time before, these factories were producers of electric refrigerators, the world's largest. Almost overnight, they became the world's largest producers of 50 caliber machine guns. In this factory, as in so many others in America, the people did something which tripped up the thinking of the enemy. The enemy knew we were manufacturers. They knew we had men. But they didn't know we could change our way of life enough to give our men the tools of war in overpowering quantity. The Axis didn't count this ability to change among our secret weapons. This is the story of what it takes to make such a change. The story of what ability to change means to all of us, now and after the war. Long before the manufacture of refrigerators was stopped, in fact 16 months before Pearl Harbor, plans were being made for the mass production of war products in this factory. How could the experience, the capacity, the manpower, the facilities of this factory best be applied to turning out products of war? After considering all important factors such as available factory space, machinery, workers, finances, and after the products were agreed upon, plant layout engineers made new production layouts and redesigned the factories to fit them. Out came peacetime machines, many of them to go into storage until after the war. Chaos is the word to describe the appearance of the factories while the changes were being made. New machinery was located, scarce machinery. Long before the factory was ready to hit its stride, the great job of training began. The job of replacing many of these men who were called to the fighting front. The job not only of replacing, but of adding. Women as well as men answered the call for more help. All these people had to be trained, for not too many had even seen the inside of a factory. A whole way of life exchanged for another. Many went from quiet retirement back to the job. From high school and college to the war production front. 16,000 is what it took to do the job just in this one factory alone. And here they are, free Americans working in a free enterprise. And here is what they learned. In the propeller plants, one of which was entirely new and the other formerly devoted to making refrigerators, the job is to take these rough forgings and turn out propellers like these. That's the job. Some of the people at the head of the production line learn to drill this hole in the bottom of the blade where connection is made with the hub. Form drilling taper bore in shank, that's called. Each one perfectly drilled, each one exactly like the next. Others learned about milling, the careful step-by-step operations which cut away unwanted metals seemingly like butter. Each milling machine taking off just the right amount of surplus. Each milling tool automatically following an ingenious master pattern to guarantee that thousands of propeller blades would be identical in every detail of contour. These people learned to grind the surfaces of the blades on batteries of grinding machines. They grind them to the smoothness of fine silverware. For the smallest nick can grow to spell disaster when the propeller is part of an American plane and is churning the air over 1,000 times a minute. Blades must measure exactly right. They must be just so thick and not a hair's width thicker. Specially designed gauges